Welcome back to the Deep Dives, where we dig into the biggest headlines and really, stack them up against the data, the ethics, and human psychology.
We're here to get you those key nuggets of knowledge you need.
And today, the headline we're getting into is, well, it's a big one. It's Elon Musk's prediction.
The huge one. He said, work will be optional in 10 to 20 years. All of it driven by AI and advanced robotics.
It's this pure vision of a technological utopia, right? A world with no scarcity where human drudgery is just gone.
But that's where we hit the tension.
Exactly. Here's the core question for our deep dive today. How can we get excited about this vision of future abundance when right now we are feeling so spectacularly to meet the basic needs of billions?
And it's not because we can't. It's not a resource problem. Our sources point to something deeper. Something they call capitalistic psychology for insatiable blind greed for profit.
So that's our mission. We're not here to debate if the AI is coming.
No, that's a given.
We're here to analyze the ethics, the economics, and the psychological shift that has to happen to make sure this future benefits everyone, not just a tiny elite.
We're using a really advanced, all-inclusive socioeconomic framework to try and map out an optimistic path forward. A way to get to that future with justice and happiness for all.
And that starts with what you call the abundance paradox.
That's right.
Okay, so let's start with the appeal of it all. Musk's scenario, it's incredibly attractive. Money becomes, basically irrelevant.
These machines can produce everything for almost no cost.
Right. Poverty is wiped out. Work becomes a hobby, something you do for fulfillment, for creativity.
It sounds inevitable technologically, but then you slam right into the wall of today's reality. What's so fascinating is that the potential for this kind of abundance, it already exists.
In basic needs, especially.
Yes, exactly. But the justice part is completely missing.
You mentioned a data point on food before we started, and it's one that really sticks with you.
It's just heartbreaking because it shows the failure isn't material, it's structural. We as the planet produce enough food to feed 10 billion people. 10 billion.
And yet,
according to the UN's latest reports, in 2023, around 733 million people were chronically undernourished.
Hold on. If we have the capacity, if we have the food, why haven't markets or, humanitarian efforts fixed this?
Because it's not a scarcity problem, it's a distribution problem, and it's driven by profit. The psychology of the current system has to monetize everything.
So even if there's enough to go around, the system will actually, create artificial scarcity?
It has to. In order to keep prices up and maintain profit margins, it prioritizes paying customers over actual human need.
And then there's the waste, the physical waste.
Oh, it's the ultimate moral indictment. The UNIDO reports that about one-third of all food produced is just lost or wasted.
That's food that could feed billions more.
Billions just thrown away.
So if we can't ethically manage the abundance we have today in food, in steel, in basic materials, why on earth should we believe the abundance from AI will be handled any better?
That's the crucial question. We suffer from a lack of ethical clarity, not a lack of stuff.
And if that psychological script of, insatiable blind greed stays the same,
then we're just building more powerful tools for inequality.
Ah.
We're just exporting the same old mindset into a brand new automated future.
Which leads directly to this really chilling possibility, techno-feudalism.
Right. If that profit-driven mindset doesn't change, then whoever owns the means of production, the AI, the robot factories, the energy grids, they will capture almost all the gains.
This idea of techno-feudalism is so powerful. It's not factory owners anymore. It's AI infrastructure owners, the new landlords of wealth.
Exactly. In the old system, a lord owned the land. In this new system, the new lords own the code. They own the robots, the data.
So if money becomes irrelevant, as Musk says, then access to energy, access to an AI assistant, that becomes the new currency, the new choke point of control.
Precisely. Inequality doesn't vanish. It just gets hard-coded into the infrastructure itself. We move from industrial capitalism to, a digital vassal state.
And technology, without that moral compass, without what some call viveka, that deep conscience.
It just becomes a tool to make inequality worse, not better.
So this brings up a huge question for you listening at home. What kind of structural changes do we actually need to make sure this abundance helps everyone? Is UBI universal basic income? Is that enough?
UBI is like a Band-Aid. It treats a symptom, but it doesn't touch the root cause, which is the monopoly on ownership. It just throws a few crumbs back.
So we need something more transformative.
We need a total systemic transformation.
Okay, so what does that look like based on the framework we're looking at?
Well, there are a few pillars. First, you need really aggressive governance on the wealth generated by AI, truly progressive taxes on automated profits, massive social dividends flowing back to the
For
public.
things like education, healthcare.
Exactly. But the second part is more radical. It's about common democratic ownership of the key infrastructure. If AI and energy are creating universal abundance, they have to be treated like public utilities.
Not private profit center.
Right. They should be socialized or run as cooperatives. The community helped create these breakthroughs. The community should get the benefit, not just one venture capitalist.
That completely flips the script. It makes you a stakeholder, not just a passive consumer.
It demands real economic democracy. It prevents the AI owners from just, turning off the tap.
It's so clear that just having more stuff, this technological abundance, it doesn't automatically create human flourishing. We need to zoom out. We need a new definition of progress itself.
We have to. Real progress isn't just about GDP or automation speed. It's about holistic human development.
You talk about life being trifarious, three-dimensional.
Yes. Human life has a physical sphere, a mental sphere, and a spiritual sphere.
And the physical part is the easy one, right? Food, shelter, the stuff Musk is promising to automate.
That's the baseline. But real progress is harmonious development across all three. The model we're looking at sees life as a journey. You move from what we could call animality
So pure instinct, greed, competition.
up to true humanity, which is governed by conscience, rationality, social responsibility. And then finally, moving toward divinity.
An existence defined by what? Universal love, service.
Universal love, selfless service, and a kind of profound inner bliss.
Okay, so here's where it gets tricky. If AI gives us all this free time, but our psychology is still stuck back in that crude animalistic phase of just wanting more stuff and more status,
Then you haven't built a utopia. You've built a comfortable cage.
we'd see a massive existential crisis.
Widespread. People would be mentally hollow, just endlessly distracted by consumption, even with all their physical needs met. Free time alone isn't progress. It's just an opportunity.
It's what you do with it.
It's how you use that time for self-expansion, for creativity, for refining the mind that creates true progress.
So how do we measure if AI abundance is actually a good thing? What's the ethical yardstick?
The core principle of this framework, the PROUT framework, is this non-negotiable moral rule. Your progress must not hinder the progress of others.
Wow. Okay, so that's the line in the sand.
It's the absolute ethical boundary.
So if I invent some amazing AI that makes me rich and my team's life easy, but my control over it deepens poverty for billions of other people.
Then you have not achieved progress. You've created an economic barrier.
Yeah.
You are actively restricting the physical, mental, and spiritual growth of others. It's oppression.
So let's paint the positive picture, the antidote to techno-feudalism. What does a society that uses this tech for harmonious progress actually look like?
Okay. In the physical sphere, you'd have an economy built on cooperatives and guaranteed basics for everyone. Technology is used for collective well-being.
And in the mental sphere?
The focus of education flips. It's not about job training anymore. It's about cultivating critical thinking, creativity, empathy. The great pursuits, art, science, philosophy, they become the main event, not a sideshow.
And then the highest aim, the spiritual sphere.
This is the ultimate use for all that free time. People have time for deep meditation, for cultivating universal love, what we call neo-humanism, for moving from a self-centered life to a life of service. It's a future where you're free to find your higher purpose.
It's about elevation, not just consumption.
Exactly.
What I love about this is it doesn't reject Musk's vision. It just says automation is necessary, but it's not enough.
Oh, absolutely. This framework is a huge admirer of technology. Bring on the AI, the quantum machines.
So tech is an accelerant.
It is, but the psychological change has to come first. Automation can't create compassion. AI can't fix a moral imbalance. That has to come from us.
So we need a totally different kind of leadership to navigate all this.
We need moral leadership. The framework calls them Sadvipras. They're not politicians in the old sense. Think of them as a morally evolved vanguard.
So a Sadvipra is someone who is already far along that path from animality towards divinity.
Yes, and their whole purpose is to guide society, to ensure technology serves the highest good for everyone.
They're the moral compass. The ones who prevent techno-feudalism from ever taking root.
Precisely. The transformation has to be internal first. That's what makes just and sustainable systems even possible.
Which brings us right back to the beginning. Musk's prediction is technologically possible, sure, but it's socially and psychologically a fantasy unless we make a conscious collective choice to change our motives.
Any talk of optional work has to come with deep, serious talk about who owns the means of production and how we guarantee universal distribution.
So, since real progress is ultimately about inner growth, not outer automation, we want to leave you with a final thought to chew on.
If the real goal is to move from humanity toward divinity, what is one small action? An act of selflessness, a moment of creativity, some deeper study? What's one thing you can do this week to use your time for that higher purpose?
That's the real challenge of the age to come. If you found this vision of a more just and all-inclusive future compelling, we really encourage you to explore these ideas further. Join and subscribe to the Sadvipras movement channel and associate yourself with PROUT, a healthy and all-inclusive socioeconomic philosophy based on neo-humanism. Until next time, keep diving deep.